In 3, 2, 1.
This is Doug Plank, former Chicago Bear. You're listening to Brags in the Stands.
What a moment it was. Here's to many more Bears fans. Big show. Let's go. The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Bottle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
Yogi!
What a great sign that is. What have I told you? 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought.
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great props, everybody.
You are ridiculous.
That's the clear the phone for the Twins. That's the clear the Twins.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. What a moment it was seeing Justin Fields come out that tunnel for the first time in a Chicago Bears uniform. Just the vibes and so. My Wi-Fi getting a little. So let's see if I turn the Wi-Fi off and we'll get a little better success here. I apologize for everything. What's up, Carmen Casino? This is Braggs in the Stands, and I am your host, Gregory Braggs Jr., but without a man that needs no introduction is my co-host and great friend, Trey Tunes from the Trey Tunes Show, doing it up big. He was working hard, of course, late last night, doing his thing, DJing on the dials, and he wakes up early to have some fun here today. We got Carmen Casino, Alex Acevedo, we got Bob in the house, we got everybody. We got Armando Lara. You know, we give the shout outs here. We don't have the horns. Trey might have the horns.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
But I don't have the horns. I just got crappy internet as per usual. You know, I got to learn, Trey. I had the Ethernet plugged in, but then I also had the Wi-Fi going, and it was glitching. So got to make sure we're on the up and ups for our big guest coming up here in just a few moments. Mark Potash from the Chicago Sun-Times. And that's right, Fields of Dreams. There it is. There's the horn for all of you. We got the Windy City Twins in the house. We got my guy Alex Acevedo in the house. Took him to the game yesterday for all his hard work and the help he had with me in my first ever live show a couple months ago for Jim McMahon. Wanted to pay it back to him because he worked really hard the day we had like 2 tornadoes coming through. And that was his first time ever at Soldier Field, Trey. So
wow.
It was a cool moment.
That's awesome.
And I'm sorry, Chubbs. Our guest is on at 10 a.m. So I always try to start a little early. Obviously, the intro is a little longer. I like to do that so I get my ducks in a row, share all the show along to Facebook. You know, I'm part of like 37 Bears Facebook groups. So, you know, in case people want to watch those live from those groups, gives me an opportunity to share those along while the long-winded intro goes on of all the crazy stuff that, you know, I've been a part of, different events and things like that, as we've seen. Now, Trey got to be on Waddle and Sylvie just a couple weeks ago at the start of training camp. So we're both living our best lives here, Trey. But everything is about Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. You know, quickly, Trey, before Mark Potash joins the show, what was your reaction and emotions and feelings watching that game and seeing Justin Fields, you know, come into his own in the second half?
Right. Yeah, like knowing the second half, he just broke out. But in the first half, you know, with the whole, like when you first, you know, the first series didn't go so great, but the way he handled it and his poise is what I was paying attention to, and just how he handled it. And he just looked so relaxed out there and calm, and the moment wasn't too big for him or anything like that. You know, it was so smooth. He was out there. It looked like he was just gliding out there. And then when things started to come along, I was just like, yes.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing, and you're right, Chubbs. You have been telling me Justin Fields is going to be QB1, and I have to be honest, and we'll get into this as the show goes on, and we'll ask Potsy, Mark Potash, aka Potsy, about his thoughts on that very thing. Maybe play a clip of Matt Nagy and his remarks to those things. But you're right, just to watch. To me, it was a game of adjustments, to come out of the second half and adjust right. They finished the first half strong with a field goal, but to come back out of the halftime tunnel, everybody will tell you that's key, how you come back out in the second half and respond to what you've seen from the defense. And, if you piggyback that from what they did from Wednesday to Thursday in the joint practices, Justin Fields sounded like I don't want to say struggled, but didn't have his best day Wednesday against the Dolphins. Then they adjusted in Thursday's practice. That plays out and hear Mark Potash's thoughts. And then, of course, you saw the big touchdown run, which we'll play maybe numerous times today just because we can't get enough of it. But then here was the touchdown pass that absolutely lit the house on fire at Soldier Field. There it is in all its glory. What a moment. I mean, just so
beautiful
cool.
Play design, too. I'm like, I love the way they dragged the receiver out, brought all the attention to the right side and feel wide open on the left side.
Well, they gave the DB only two options. There was a running back or a receiver in the flat, and then the tight end comes across and curls up the field, and he either has to pick the tight end or the flat, and he chose the flat, and he chose wrong. Someone on Twitter shared that Justin Fields pre-snap great picture and almost kind of knew what was coming. And, a little insight behind that, having been to, 5 or 6 training camps at Hallis Hall and Family Fest, they ran that play at Hallis Hall here just a week ago, and it worked the exact same way. So he knew it was coming. That shows you his high IQ level that he has, understanding what he's seen before and being able to execute that. So that's exciting stuff. You put all that stuff together. Obviously, the touchdowns are exciting, but all the different plays that led to that, that's what gets the house juice, because you're like, wow, he can do it all. We all want to see him do it against first team, but for now, this is who he's playing against, and it's hard not to get excited when you see the pedigree of talent. So without further ado, let's bring in our special guest for today, from the Chicago Sun-Times, Mr. Mark Potash, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, one of my favorite Chicago Bears beat reporters. I had the opportunity to say hi to him at camp, and he was gracious enough to agree to come on today. How are we doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great, Greg. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and this is my co-host, Trey Tunes. Does a very entertaining show on Twitch, the Trey Tunes Show, and we do it up here. And we're going to try not to take up too much of your time, but we're so excited for what we've seen here yesterday. You put out a tweet that, just before the game, like on Friday after the practice, and it basically you were insinuating, if Justin Fields makes it big this season, we'll look back on Thursday's practice, the red zone drill, as the moment it was clear he was destined for greatness. A dominant performance with 6 touchdowns that displayed every facet of his game, run, pass, rollout. That makes him a lethal weapon. And, you're always tongue-in-cheek on Twitter, but that was a moment you were very poignant. After seeing what he then doubled down with on Saturday, Chicago Bears.
I'm sorry, you cut out there, Greg. I missed the last part of that.
Just as far as where do you think, after seeing Justin Fields double down on what he did from the Thursday practice to Saturday, where can this kid go with the Chicago Bears?
Well, that's an interesting question because you would think just by watching it, the sky would be the limit. But right now, the edict that Andy Dalton is the starter kind of puts a limit on that. So I guess the question is, can he change Matt Nagy's mind? I don't think he can. But I think this really opened Matt Nagy's eyes to what he can do, much like, looking back at Russell Wilson in 2012. I keep looking back at that. That's the template for me. And just looking back at Russell Wilson's performance and how that really opened Pete Carroll's eyes. And I think it was similar talking to Matt Nagy. You could tell that he sees possibilities, not for week one. I just don't think he's going to pull the rug out from under Dalton if this thing continues. But I do think that it opens his eyes, and I just think it raises the bar for Dalton to have to be actually really good once he gets the job. So I think, as far as potential, even if you consider that it was against second teamers and stuff like that, what you saw here was you saw at least a glimpse of just how special the kid can be in the right situation in a good offense. And I think that's what really intrigued everybody, including Matt Nagy. I think that's the key point, is Nagy really seemed to when we talked about it in the press conference, when people kind of hinted around, like the question you're asking, how good can this be? Maybe, not can he start, but kind of hinting at that. He didn't push back too hard. He wasn't defensive like some coaches would be and say, hey, and Andy Dalton's our starter. He never really said that. That doesn't mean it's not true, but it just means that his mind is open. And I think that's been the key to the whole thing with the Matt Nagy is, he's given Dalton the job, but how much of an open will he have? The same kind of open mind that Pete Carroll had with Russell Wilson in 2012. And I think he's getting there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Russell Wilson is where Bears fans hope it goes, taking the decision out of his hands. When Matt Flynn was signed by the Seahawks, and they just had no choice, because you can't look your team in the face if everyone knows this guy is gives the team the best chance to win. I want to play for our viewers here watching what Matt Nagy's comments, because he was asked exactly what you're saying, and I agree. I think his mindset is starting to turn, so I want you to see what Matt Nagy had to say and then react to it.
So, Jason, what does he have to do to push you to the point of saying there really is a decision to make here between the two quarterbacks?
Yeah, he keeps stacking days like he had today, right? And understanding that, again, in this whole process, in this plan as we go, we what's the ultimate goal for us as an offense? Score touchdowns, right? So keep scoring, keep leading the team down, keep getting first downs, keep getting touchdowns. Let us be able to see the whys behind everything, right? Why did that happen? And the more times that you have things happen because of that player, meaning Justin, or that player because of Andy, or that player because of Montgomery, or whoever, we know that, we see that, and then it makes it hard on us. And then we're going to do whatever is best. In the end, ultimately, we're always going to do what's best for the Chicago Bears, right? And so here we are in week one, and I just think we all understand that it was a great first day for Justin at that position. He did awesome. We love that. And now let's put it together. And let's keep working, let's improve it, and let's stay consistent with it, right? Let's take this into the next game when you're back out there. And we also understand, these other guys that didn't play very much, they want to play a little bit more next week too and do their thing. And we're looking for the identity of this offense and how we get to be the best we can be.
Jason Peters.
There he is, Matt Nagy, certainly seeming like he's starting to change his opinion on the hard line. Dalton is our starter, which I think for a lot of Bears fans is refreshing. But as he said, he wants to see him stack days. So Thursday, he balls out against the Dolphins in practice. Now he does it again on Saturday, against the exact same team. And now I guess he wants to see him do it again against Buffalo. It's just for us. I think we all want to see him start week one as fans. But I do believe he's nervous about pushing it too quickly. But you can't deny the pedigree of talent.
Well, I agree with that, but you got to remember, I think now in this era's preseason, time is running short quickly, and you just don't have the same time. Going back to the Russell Wilson thing, he played strong again in their second preseason game, and then Pete Carroll started him in the third, in the third game, which is the used to be called the dress rehearsal. and then he was the starter after that, and when he played well in that game, and the Bears just don't have that opportunity. There is going to be no real dress rehearsal because it looks like the third game will now be what the fourth one was.
I agree.
You're really a game short. There just isn't enough time, and I think Matt Nagy does not want to go on record as telling a guy he's the starter and then pulling the rug out from under him no matter what happened. He has to live with that. And that's why I say the biggest thing about this is it raises the bar. You know, Glennon failed. Glennon had to fail. And I always say if you shouldn't be hoping for Andy Dalton to fail because I don't think it's good for Justin Fields to take over a bad offense. I think you can make it better, but I don't think you can make it great. So what you want is the bar raised higher for Dalton, and I think that's what this has done. I think he's got to be Dalton when he starts. The offense is going to have to be good, and if Fields continues on the arc that he is, then it's going to be a lot easier to sell that change earlier than he anticipated.
And you're right. And then I'm going to let Trey get in with a question if he has one. You know, you're right as far as Justin Fields coming into a good offense, and that includes the run game getting going, which is hard to facilitate this time of year because they don't tackle that much in practice. David Montgomery only got 2 snaps yesterday in live bullets. But, you know, more importantly, the offensive line. It's been in such a flux here these first few weeks of training camp. So many different injuries. Tevin Jenkins hasn't even been on the field, and Larry Borum, you know, who showed a little promise early on, is now in concussion protocol. Jermaine Ifedi, we haven't even seen. Now the Bears pick up Jason Peters, the 39-year-old veteran tackle, you know, guy that certainly has a resume. You know, what are your thoughts with that signing, and how worried should Bears fans feel about Tevin Jenkins now with them picking a guy like this up?
Well, I have to say, I think the biggest takeaway from the Jason Peters signing is that it means that Tevin Jenkins is a long term situation, because just by the way they explained it, I mean, Jason Peters is not going to come here to not start, and they had already pegged Tevin Jenkins to start to win that job. So just by the way they explained it, it just sounds like more than picking up a former multiple-time Pro Bowler, you know, it's a bad sign for Tevin Jenkins. But I will say this: I think talk about first impressions. My first impressions of the offensive line is that it's not going to be the disaster that will prevent you from putting a rookie in a quarterback, which I think was the big concern, is that you didn't want to get Justin Fields killed. And again, it's a first impression, first game. Who knows what will happen when the bullets are real? But I think they showed that Justin Fields, you know, he's an interesting quarterback. Justin Fields is a guy who, you don't want to destroy your rookie quarterback, but Justin Fields is good enough that he can make a okay lineman into a better lineman just by escaping trouble. A guy like Charles Leno, he would make Charles Leno a Pro Bowler again if he were still here, because that's what Mahomes did for his offensive tackles. And so you got to consider that the quarterback can also be a boon for the offensive line, as much as the offensive line being a hindrance or a danger for him. And I think my first impression of the offensive line yesterday was that it will not be the disaster that will prevent a coach from exposing him to that kind of that kind of trouble. I mean, it's the first game, so I gotta qualify it with that. But that was the first impression.
Well, that's certainly one of my biggest concerns. So that's good to hear, and we'll see how they can do next week again. Maybe with more first-team reps, maybe Justin Fields could get some of those first-team reps to get some familiarity with that offensive line and those wide receivers and tight ends and things of that nature. Trey, I'm going to let you fire away.
Okay, I think you cut out. All right. Well, I know Justin Fields is is so excited to be, how excited everybody is about him. But I got excited about the defense too, creating 2 takeaways and, the pressure they put on the quarterback and the tackles for loss. So is there anybody that caught your eye? Like even with the second and third string, you saw the penetration and the pressure. And I got excited about that because, the more opportunities they could create for our offense to put some points on the board.
I can't say anybody really caught my eye because most of the guys who did the damage in like the second half. They're going to be fringe players on the team, and so I can't say I paid a whole lot of attention to that. The one thing I did get though is I think the best sign for the defense was that their defensive line throughout the game, from the beginning to the end, was excellent. They were really good against. I'm not sure exactly how strong the Dolphins are going to be first team, so I don't know what kind of test it was. But their defensive line, which has to be the anchor, I mean, that's the key to everything. Especially when you add Eddie Goldman in there. The whole key to this thing, going from Pagano to Desai, is having a guy like Eddie Goldman plug up the middle, create better pass rushing opportunities, and then making an all-pro out of Eddie Jackson again. And I think you saw the signs just based on their first team, which was brief with Hicks in there. And Bilal Nichols. I think there wasn't much, but what I saw, and even the depth, you saw some guys with pressure and sex. I thought that was the best sign, but it's hard to tell exactly where they are. And also, I have to admit, my concern with the defense isn't nearly as great as the offense. So most of my focus was offensive minded. So I wasn't like paying quite as much attention to the defense. At least I just didn't see any real problem areas based on who was on the field.
Well, they were driving me nuts a little bit in the first half because I wanted Justin Fields to get as many reps as he could, and they couldn't seem to get off the field. A couple tough spots of the ball and things of that nature, but they had the interception in the end zone, which was nice, to make sure they don't get any points there. And then the goal line stand was another big moment, and you're seeing a few people in the chat bringing up Tonga, their late round pick here in this draft class. This guy, I saw him walking through the tunnel. He's got calves as big as my head. And he certainly seems like, they have so much depth now with Eddie Goldman returning. And you got Bilal Nichols, as you mentioned, looking like he could have a breakout year. And, of course, Akeem Hicks. What are your thoughts with Tonga? And, I mean, obviously he looks – you would think for a late-round pick.
Yeah, I think Tonga has looked good, but I think Blackson has looked good too in the middle. So I mean, I think their depth at tackle is going to be outstanding, especially if Eddie Goldman. I'm assuming he'll be the same force he was. So Tonga looks like a potential contributor as a rookie. Again, it's early, hard to tell, but at least they have another guy like Blackson that I think is going to really. Really just give them the depth they had before. That was the concern, actually, with losing Jay Rogers, was how good, he created such great depth on the offense. Every guy who was on that defensive line was a playmaker, and some guys, even some fringe guys, and you were concerned about losing that. I sense that they're going to have the same depth that they've had, and that's been a big key, and that's going to be a big key, as Hicks gets older and probably can't play every down. So they're going to need that. So yeah, I can't say I've examined Tonga that closely. I have noticed him. He has been noticeable. I'll say that. He looks like he belongs. But again, I think you need more real football to be able to tell for sure.
Absolutely. And final question for the defense, because all eyes were on the offense yesterday. But Sean, impressions. Obviously, a lot of people want to see an improvement from what we saw from, the former defensive coordinator, Chuck Pagano. Do you think Sean Desai is going to bring a freshness to this defense and maybe get, a little jolt of juice to these guys to get them back to where they were in 2018?
Yeah, I do. I don't think they'll get them back to where they were in 2018. I think even Vic Fangio would have had trouble with that if he had stuck around. I think it was just so high. But I did say, I wrote earlier this week that, there are certain kind of false narratives that you kind of fall for because they just sound so good in camp. And one narrative that I think I've kind of bought into is the idea that Sean Desai, even as a rookie coordinator, will give them kind of fresh new life, and breathe some new air into this defense. And I just talking to people at this point, it sounds good. We haven't seen it quite yet, although yesterday was, I thought, a pretty good start. But I do agree. I think, Chuck Pagano, I just don't think it worked out. I mean, frankly, I think he kind of jumped before he was pushed, and I think the Bears saw that they needed to make a change there. And I think Matt Nagy has some definite ideas of where he wanted to go. And everything about Sean Desai sounds good right now. The biggest question is, how good will he be on game day? because Vic was outstanding on that. And frankly, I think Mike Pettin was very good at that too against the Bears. And I think that could be a factor as well. A guy who's that experienced on your side now could, to kind of the veteran guy to help the young first-time coordinator. So just based on Desai's intelligence and just his new, fresh ideas, and he's got something to work with. He's not rebuilding.
Right.
That I really feel like I will be disappointed if they don't get somewhere in between where they were under Pagano and the peak under Fangio.
Yeah, well, they won the turnover battle yesterday, 2-0, and that's what you want.
Right.
Lovie Smith used to preach that, and I was a Lovie Smith disciple. I absolutely loved him as a head coach. So moving back to the offense, because I'd be remiss if we don't continue to touch on Justin Fields. It was the Justin Fields show yesterday, so that's what everybody wants to hear about. And one of the big quotes out of the presser was his thoughts on the speed of the game. So I'm going to play that clip for the viewers and then get your reaction, because a lot of NFL types, big media personalities, were kind of thumbing at him like, slow down, kid, like you're getting ahead of yourself. Or do I want to know if you think this quote was much ado about nothing. So let me play the clip and then we'll get your reaction.
Justin, what was it like in your first game adjusting to that NFL speed as opposed to college?
It was actually kind of slow to me, to be honest. I think, I was expecting it to be a little bit faster, but, practicing, game speed, going at it with my teammates every day. And, of course, we have a great defense. So me going against them every day, it definitely slowed the game up a little bit for me. So, I felt comfortable out there, and I just, of course, I have room to grow. So I'm just going to try to get better each and every day.
After the fumble, it looked like.
So there he is saying the game was slower than he thought. And then some players from the former NFL guys were like, hey, now you're going to find out differently. Or do you think he was just trying to give credit to the team that he plays for?
Greg, I'm a reporter. Anybody who's that forthright, I'm going to be all for him. Speak your mind. And especially because he wasn't being boastful. He was just telling it like he saw it. And I think he knows this was the first preseason game. This is not going to be as fast as a real as a regular season NFL game. But the thing is, I think the one thing we saw is that when the game speeds up, he's going to be able to speed up and react to it. And I think that's the difference with a guy like Trubisky, who also was comfortable and poised and looking like the guy coming off his first preseason game in 2017. He was the talk of the town too after his first game. But I said it at the very beginning, and I don't know if I quite believed that I was more kidding than anything else, but he's just the first impression. He's just a different animal than Trubisky, even though they were both successful in their first game. It's like I said, and that's one of the examples I would say is that when the game speeds up and the degree of difficulty increases, I just have a better, more faith, more confidence that he'll be able to respond in kind. So I was glad to hear that he said that. For one thing, it's a great quote. It's honest. And it says a lot about how he sees the game.
Yeah, I agree. It was just to watch him come out of the pocket and kind of make those defenders, have that decision where they didn't know either to come at him or stay with the receiver. And he keeps his eyes downfield. One of the better plays at camp that I've seen was last Sunday when he threw one to the back of the end zone. It was the same thing. He's rolling out of the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, waiting for that separation to occur, and then bang, hitting it with all these different arm angles, which is certainly exciting to see. Another guy that has got my ears up is this Khalil Herbert. They got a deep running back room, especially if Tariq Cohen can return from his injury. They have Damian Williams in the house, and then, of course, David Montgomery being the bulldozer that he is. But what are your thoughts on this guy, Khalil Herbert? Seems like he's got a little bit of power and speed.
I agree. I think his versatility is really something the Bears need. I always thought it was an interesting draft pick. It was a 5th or 6th rounder, but it was at a point where they really didn't need a running back. It looked like it was a classic best player available pick. And so that's when that got my attention, that they must really, really like this kid. And ever since then, they've given him every opportunity. Of course, Tariq Cohen has been out. That's been a factor. But even with Damian Williams, they have given him every opportunity to show what he can do in every facet, special teams, everything. And I think they like what they see. I think they've got somebody here. It's just uncanny how well Ryan Pace has been at that point in the draft. I mean, I'm not sure if I believe the Borum hype, and it was only one day, but that's another guy in the 5th round. It's almost like they prefer the 5th round pick, like Anthony Miller, because they got a 4th or 5th round pick. It was like, hey, that was like an upgrade for them because they do so much better in the 5th round. But Herbert is a good example of a guy I think who can make an impact pending what happens with Tariq Cohen. And so far, so far so good, because he's the kind of guy who maybe doesn't make your offense good, but if you have a good offense, a better offense like they did in 2018, that he's the guy who makes it. He takes it to another level, just like Cohen did. Cohen, when the offense was bad, Cohen was a you couldn't use him. He was not a good piece. But in 18, he was like, he was not sensation, but he was certainly a revelation. As a gadget player, and I think that Herbert's kind of in that role.
We've had all these names, obviously, Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, Marquise Goodwin are making this team. They new names that I think are pressing. What are your thoughts with I'm sorry.
Yeah, he might be.
This dang internet. I'm plugged into my Ethernet, Potsy, but this dang internet's giving me problems. As I was saying before, what are your thoughts with wide receiver groups? And I'm for Gary, Indiana. What are you?
I'm sorry, Greg. You cut out there. I still didn't get the question. It was about the wide receivers.
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Their depth, ever since they picked up Wims and Ridley, and even Anthony Miller, their depth has always looked. They've always liked their depth better than it actually is. I think they've upgraded. I'll be honest. I'm always wary about the speed receiver thing because it never seems to work out. But they've upgraded with 3 guys now who really, have not world class speed, I guess, but more like track speed. And I think in a good offense, that's going to be good. But I just got to say, I got to wait and see. I've been fooled too many times, especially still burned by the Anthony Miller episode where he looked like really good and just didn't make it. But I think they've upgraded. I guess the best way to say it, I think they've given themselves more chances to win with what they have with Goodwin and Bird. And Adams. So I don't know. I just feel like I just feel like they've got a chance, but I just can't say, wow, by bringing these guys in, they made their offense better. I still think that's Mooney and Allen Robinson are going to have to get that ball rolling. And then everything else is, like I said, kind of like Tariq Cohen, where you're kind of a byproduct of a good offense rather than making the offense good.
Well, I always tend to get excited about training camp heroes, especially at wide receiver. Tanner Gentry was my guy. The list goes on and on.
I
with
was
different
a Dave Tanzenbacher guy, so
hey, these guys got talent. Yeah, they're not in the league if they don't. But now my guy's John Vea Johnson because he's from Gary, Indiana, and I reside in the region as well. So he's the one I'm rooting for to make the practice squad. But we shall see. I apologize about my internet today, Potsy. It's killing me. I'm on the Ethernet, but it just seems to continue to jump in and out of it. So next time, if you're nice enough to join us again, I promise I'll have that rectified.
Well, that's okay. But when you mentioned John Vea Johnson, it's interesting. There are certain guys that that a good quarterback kind of connects with, and that takes them to another level. And that's one guy that he has. So. So I guess what I'm saying is everybody becomes intriguing when the quarterback situation, when you have an elite quarterback, and I'm not saying the Bears have that yet, but if they get that, then you can start talking about receivers, just like, Aaron Rodgers, turning all these third round guys, second and third round receivers into stars. And then you'll notice when they leave, they don't really have the same success. A lot of it is quarterback driven. And now the Bears, I think, have at least a potential for a quarterback who can make guys like that their guys. And I think you have better potential for those lower round guys to become stars, just like you see on the Patriots and the Packers. Obviously, they're not there yet, but they have I guess the point is they have a much better chance to get there with this guy than they've had in a long time, going back even further before Trubisky and Cade McNown and and all those guys.
Do you think Wims or Ridley or even both are in danger of being cut? You saw Javon Wims have the false start in the first half. That certainly can't help his case.
Yeah, I think anybody who is not in that first group is kind of on the fringe, actually, because I think they can pick and choose. And and what Mike Furry said earlier when he was discussing the Anthony Miller thing, we don't need you. And out of context, that sounded pretty harsh, but I think that is a reality given their situation now, especially with the quarterback and just if the offense and with the depth they have, they could be a little more picky about what they have. So yeah, Wims and Ridley, who maybe were possible solutions, they could be on the outside looking in not because they're not good, but because the Bears have better, which, that's always a good sign for an offense.
100%. So no more Bears questions, but I do want to know, and we talked a little bit about this at camp, or at least I, told you how much fans appreciate it, but your style of reporting, I love. Obviously you're very funny on Twitter. Some people do not understand your humor, which makes it even funnier. I just enjoy how you put it out there, but more importantly, the way you approach a press conference. A guy like Chubbs, who's a diehard, loyal supporter of this show, he's very hard on the media. He thinks that they ask a lot of softball questions because they are worried about their security of their credentials, and he wants more media types to be like you, to put it in most honest terms, to really hammer the coach when it's deserved or the players when it's deserved. How do you go about asking the tough questions? What's your approach or your mindset when you enter a press conference?
I don't know. I guess I just ask what I'm curious about. It is very difficult. A lot of people kind of revel in that they like putting people on the spot, and it's just their nature. I'm just the opposite. I hate it. I'm sweating bullets inside at a lot of those press conferences because I don't like it. But I mean, that sometimes they're just questions that have to be asked, and I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot more people than you think who really put it to guys like John Fox and Nagy and going back to Wani in my era and stuff like that. But I think they do. But it's just asking questions that need to be asked. And frankly, every fan base thinks the media that covers their team is soft. And one of the reasons for that is just human nature. We deal with these guys all the time, every day. And sometimes it's just difficult to put a guy on the spot. It has nothing to do with our credentials. That's bogus. It's nothing to do with credentials. I will say sometimes it has something to do with access, because in today's, I call today the friend or foe era of sports journalism, where in general with players, not with coaches so much, but with players, if you ask a critical question, you're like the enemy, you're a hater, and they're not as eager to now they don't, there's not many times where you can see them, especially with closed locker rooms now. So I think there's that factor involved, but so that maybe that's why critical questions, there's probably maybe not as many as those. But I think in general, I think we do a pretty good job, especially with the current circumstances as a whole, of putting these guys, putting their feet to the fire and asking the questions that need to be asked. But hey, we're open for criticism too. I mean, that's what we do for a living. We criticize. So I never look down on people who criticize us, because that's what we do too. But I also, at the same time, I say, hey, come on out here, get a press pass. Look Matt Nagy in the eye, when you have developed a relationship with him, and ask him, why he did this or why he did that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying it's a lot tougher question to ask in real time.
Do you think the Bears media policy is a little too rigid or old school? You're seeing teams live stream full practices like the Cowboys or even the Patriots with Bill Belichick, who's, you would think be as secretive as any coach. But then the Dolphins reporters come to town and they were surprised that they weren't able to do the kind of coverage they're used to. Do you think the Bears are within their rights to restrict the media as much as they do, especially when it comes to pictures or videos, or is it within bounds? Because I will admit, the touchdown to Jesse James, that was a play I saw at camp. They ran that play last week. So there is certain plays they are trying to run, but you're also not reinventing the wheel when it comes to playing football. So Are they trying to hold back too much, or do you think that they're in bounds with some of their media restrictions?
Well, I think they're, and I'm biased, because I'm in the media, but I think they're way too restrictive. I think they're way too paranoid. If you can be compromised by showing individual workouts, player, position workouts or whatever, then you're not as smart as you think you are. I mean, you just, I think you can show a lot more. And there have been times where I have asked a couple of times where I've asked Matt Nagy, what's the downside to doing this or doing that as far as showing things or doing things? And frankly, they don't have an answer. John Fox once had an answer. Once we asked him, I remember Peggy Kaczynski talking to him on the sideline at Bourbonnais, asked him, why? Because for TV, it really hurts. They can't get any video of players making plays. So it really hurts them. And he had some explanation about how he was in a hotel room and saw highlights on TV, and he was able to use that against the team that they were getting ready to play. But I'll be honest, I don't buy that. Pete Carroll, speaking of him, he used to have open practices at USC. He doesn't do it with Seattle, I guess, because he can't or doesn't have to. But, he used to have open practice where anybody could watch. And I think the idea is, I always say, and I'm half joking, but I always say coaches should do the opposite. They should show everything, put everything out there. Maybe not the trick plays, but show everything out there and let the other team try and figure out. Give them too much information, and I think you'll confuse them because they'll never know what they're getting. And I'm kind of kidding about that, but kind of not. I just think they're just. So to answer your question in a long way, I think they're way too restrictive, and mainly because this is a franchise that has done this for years and years, but they've won 4 playoff games in the last 30 years. So where's it getting them in general? And this coaching staff has been around long enough that, they made the playoffs twice, but, they're not the Patriots. So I just think everybody follows Belichick, and he was very close to the vest. And I think it's a false idea that Belichick wins because he was so restrictive media wise. I think that's just part of his personality. And I think people they always follow his lead. It's like, that's why we have the Wildcat. It worked against him. So everybody uses it now. When he does something, he does, they use him. And I think that's where a lot of this has become more and more restrictive, and people think that. So, I think they should be much more open than they are as what we can take pictures of and what we can see and what we can report, because they've never fully convinced me of what the downside is.
Yeah, me, I definitely think it's silliness, and I think it's more so about social media, the social media race, who's to get there first with the videos putting out. I apologize. I'm quick with the trigger. I got a phone in my hand. It's not that hard. But, and people are thirsty for Justin Fields content, and Bears fans feel like they just haven't had enough. And so it does seem silly when you talk about, the jersey sales. He's got the highest jersey sales of anyone not named Tim Tebow. So, the more the merrier. I would think if you're a Chicago Bears front office person, you'd want to try to sell this as much as you can. It'd be silly to dull down the hype. Final questions from the chat. We got a few tongue-in-cheek jokes from the guys in the chat. They want to know about your TV in the background, your old school. Big Dollar Dave said the 90s called Potsy and they want their TV back. Are you going to upgrade the TV? What's going on? You can't get a flat. We got to hook you up with a flat screen, my man.
No, I'm stuck in the 70s. I'm really nostalgic. So that's how I'm not one of the film watchers. I don't break down, as you can tell just by talking to me, I don't break down somebody's, short area quickness or their foot, hand placement or whatever. So I don't watch film, but when I do watch highlights or do watch film, it's a lot of times it's on the old VCR. So
we enjoy. That was one of the things that was funny about last year's press conferences. You guys are all doing Zoom meetings, so we got to see all you guys in your natural habitats, and it was really entertaining, the different ones, and yours, certainly your background was all making us laugh with that old school TV, the TV VCR. So Matt says, don't give in, stay old school. So you got to love it. So again, appreciate all your time today. If you wouldn't mind doing one more favor, and then I'll cut you loose. We do this thing, where when we have special guests on, they'll do basically a radio station ID for the show. So all you basically, if you wouldn't mind, doing a, hey, I'm Mark Potash from the Chicago Sun-Times, and you're listening to Brags in the Stands, and then I can then play that to start my show, on another day coming down the road, if you wouldn't mind.
I've never done one of these, so if we're doing this live, I think this could be a disaster.
No, you'll be good. And we always joke
that live TV is not my thing. So
well, we always joke that it took Akeem Hicks 9 takes, but most people it only takes 1 or 2. You're a professional, so it's not hard. Just your name and who you work for, and you're listening to Brags in the Stands, and that's it. Bada bing, bada boom. So, I hate to put you on the spot, but we would certainly be honored if you wouldn't mind. So I'll put your beautiful nameplate up that my good friend Jake made for, and then I'll give you the countdown. Are you ready?
I think I am.
You can do it.
In 3, 2, 1.
I'm Mark Potash from the Chicago Sun-Times, and you're listening to Brags in the Stands.
Boom. See, that wasn't so hard. You did it. That was first take.
That's first time I've ever done anything like that.
Well, that's great. And like I said, when we do shows going down in the future, you'll be to start the show. That's how I like to start my shows, is all the different guests. I take a lot of pride in all the different people that agree to come on, and I try to respect the time, but I talk a lot, and then it doesn't help when the internet kicks out on me. So I appreciate you taking some time out of your morning after working hard on the Bears beat yesterday. You've been one of my favorite beat reporters for a very long time. So it was an honor to meet you at training camp, and it was a lot of fun to have you on today. So, again, appreciate all your time, and look forward to crossing paths with you as the season goes on.
Same here, Greg. Love your stuff. Trey, nice to meet you. And
nice to meet you as well.
Best of luck. Look forward to talking to you sometime down the road.
Yeah, we'll love to bring you back on. I try not to over-ask.
When Fields replaces Dalton.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll take you up on that. Every guy, I always try to not over ask my guests, to come on a million times. You got 9 million podcasters that are requesting to come on, and so we're all just having fun here, but certainly appreciate you carving out some of your time today.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, we'll catch up with you soon. That is Mark Potash from
Chicago Sun-Times.
1987, doing it up big, Trey.
Wow, what an awesome guy.
Yeah, very knowledgeable. I've always enjoyed his delivery when it comes to asking the questions. But Chubbs has got Potsy coming back on week 1 when he's announced the starter. So we'll see what happens. I apologize to everyone about my freaking internet. You would think, being at home, I mean, we've had internet issues, Trey, when I do my live shows where I can't connect anywhere, but I literally have this stupid Ethernet cord plugged into my modem, and for whatever reason, it's still playing games with me. I can't explain it. It's very embarrassing, and it throws me off my game, but this is what we got to do. This is the cards we are dealt, and it is what it is. So thanks for everyone for being patient. Obviously, Potsy was real patient with it and a professional. I don't know who's worse. Yeah, exactly. My internet is stuck in Potsy's VCR combo, so that's what we're trying to do here at Brags and Stands. And another thing, I think, Trey, had just been getting up. He had a late night last night, but I do also want to apologize to you, Trey. When you're a part of these interviews, I want you to feel like you can ask any questions you want. Obviously, I have things lined up that I want to get out with the videos attached to them and things like that. So we'll work on that as we go forward. It's a juggling act, trying to pull up the videos, ask the questions, pull up the comments. So, and I also don't want to overextend my time with the guests that we have. I mean, these guys work really hard. He was working all day yesterday covering the Chicago Bears. So, we'll work on this going forward, but I want you to feel like you can absolutely get more questions in and jump in. I talk too much, Trey. You're used to this, so this is nothing new.
I just sit here and smile. I'm over here like.
But you got a beautiful face, my man. You got a beautiful smile. You got a beautiful smile, and you also have the best dance moves on the planet.
And I'm sorry,
Last night I had to show them how to do one of the slides because they forgot how to do it. You should have seen me last night. See,
killing
wait,
the game.
Wait till we
So when it's like a mythical unicorn. When you bust out these great dance moves, there's no documentation of it.
Right, I know, right? Yeah, I'll just show and prove. Next time we all get together, I'm gonna bust out the boom box, put the cardboard down, and I don't know how to break dance or anything like that. But yeah, it's I was like more being silly right there, and you just caught me being a goofball. I wasn't like seriously trying to dance. It's just that I didn't really know the song that well. And I'm glad you caught it because it's hilarious, to look at. And
I'm always got my phone out.
Right. With 8K HD, I get caught on with my worst moments.
Where is Will? Where is Will? I was waiting for all the tough, NU, I don't know, Nunu too poking is giving me the criticism, and I'm always open to criticism, just like Potsy. It is a juggling act when, he's saying I need to let them answer. I do my best. You got to try to, it's got to be a smooth transition into the next question. And you also, when you have 10 questions, 10, 15 questions lined up, and you tell the guy, hey, I'm going to have you on for 20 minutes, you're trying to keep it moving along. It's a little bit of a radio trick that you got to, I'm learning on the fly. I'm no professional here. We're just having fun. But I am very disappointed, and I'm sure you are too, Trey, that Will is not in attendance for this show right now.
Right, because all he was going to, I could tell you exactly what he was going to say. He was going to say that Nagy sucks. Nagy's not a real coach.
Yeah, and he promised he was going to be here. That's what we were waiting for, the fire and thunder.
Right, you got to see Will's word is, just about as good as his opinion sometimes. I'm just but it's like I think he's just so pessimistic because his heart has been broken, just like
he talks to little kid too much. That's the problem.
Yeah. We got to get him on the show. It'll be so funny if we get me and you, little Kevin, Will just all on the show one day. I'm pretty sure I'll probably get one word in that whole episode. Hi, and that'll be it from me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you ain't lying there. And you're most certainly welcome. Just having fun over here. I was harassing all the different media types and I ran into Mark, and he had really kind words to say about the coverage I do. So I was like, hey, you want to come on? And it was cool. We exchanged information, and I knew I was gonna bring him on as soon as I could because he is one of my favorite beat reporters out there. So
I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I got to set my alarm to get up for.
Well, we're gonna have plenty more great guests here coming up as the season comes forward. I am gonna reach out to Tom Waddle here real soon. Each year he'll come on. I try not to over ask Tommy because Tommy is such a good guy to me that literally anything I ever ask him, he'll do. So that makes me feel bad because I don't want to over ask, just like I told Potsy.
Get it. Because you appreciate it so much, you just don't want to abuse it.
Right. Yeah, so. You get it. Look at how Waddle and Sylvia are taking care of you now. They're good people, and you don't want to take advantage of that, and dip into the well too much. So, we're going to have a lot of special guests coming on here going forward, and Trey will get way more questions in next time. Right. We'll try to be a little more
prepared to ask any questions.
That's what I felt. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I knew you worked late last night. Obviously, you're a part of this show just as much as you allow me to be a part of your show, which I appreciate. But I also didn't want to put you on the spot in case you didn't have anything. But obviously, you can always jump in whenever you want.
And I like the way you set me up to think about it. You was like, yeah, Trey, you can ask a question in a second. So it gave me
instead of being like, all right, Trey,
I'm like, okay. And I was like, all right. I was thinking about everything I was watching the game, and I just thought like something else other than what you already talked about. said, let me try to bring in a new. Are you frozen? That's the only reason I'm not getting interrupted right here.
This goddamn internet, Trey. I don't know what to say. It's so annoying, man.
What you probably? I mean, I know we're not gonna.
It says Ethernet connected. What else do I got to do when it's Ethernet?
Well,
it should be running.
You know the website speedtest.com. Go see how fast your actual connection is right now, and like I don't know what kind of service you do have, but I mean, check that out real quick just to see, like speedtest.com, and you know it allows you to check the actual speed of your connection, and if it's low or something like that, then even with being connected, you'll see why you're going in and out. As I think you're
okay. What can you see here? Can you see?
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, screen.
I'm trying to. All right, hold up. I'll go to speedtest.com. What do you see now? Do you see a bunch of crazy screens?
No, it's just that one your browser. It's showing
Speedtest.net. All right. Now what?
Yeah, just click on it and when you get there, oh, that doesn't look like it. Is that it?
No, it doesn't. Speedtest.com. Here we go. We'll find it. We'll find it, people. It is so annoying, though. I'm telling you. You bring these guys.
.net is one of those. Or just type in speed test in your search, and it should come up.
Oh yeah. Nothing's coming up, dude. It's annoying. It really is. I can't take it anymore, Trey. And yeah, you're the tech guy, so you're gonna be the one to fix this. But
make it work.
I'm telling you, man, it's so frustrating. But it is what it is.
Speedtest.net. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, look at it. It's so fast it won't even pull up the damn screen.
There you go.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, then, it's gonna say go in a second, right there, and then you just I could tell it's slow because of you're getting virus threat pop-ups. Yeah.
Come on. All right.
That's your internet. It's either something with your internet or your computer itself that's making your internet lag. I'm going to send you a program.
There's Will. There's Will. Of course, he's got to come in with the Pornhub comment.
I was about to pop
up. Chubbs and Will on the same page. You know, geez, he's always busting my balls. I can't help it.
He said Nagy does suck, and it's like, yeah, I can admit that Nagy has his flaws, right? You know, he might not run the ball as much, but you know, he's a first time head coach, and it's like I can see that the guy can learn and stuff, and he probably just made some silly comments out of frustration, like I'm not an idiot and all that stuff. But you know, we all say stuff out of frustration and things like that. But the guy has a winning record. We've been to the playoffs twice, and I know it wasn't pretty, but look who we had at quarterback. So it's like that makes the world of difference, and not just for Nagy, but the entire team and the organization. Look how much, would you agree that people are happier, and that if the players are happier, you will subconsciously play better and harder for your team, like the happier you are. Like when you go into work, if the environment is better and you're happy to be there, you get better production. And so I mean, that's what I see happening here. Like there he is. Nagy's no good, let's be honest. Like what has Nagy?
And he always spells Nagy with 2 G's.
Right. Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. His techniques are exactly like little kids. He does all these Twitter things that drive me crazy. And it's one of these is spelling Nagy's name wrong.
Yeah, I just don't understand. You can't judge him solely off his press conferences. Right. See, the thing is with Nagy, it's like you expect people, well, especially head coaches, to learn from their mistakes. And my biggest criticism from Nagy isn't like what everybody else would say. Oh yeah, he doesn't run the ball that much. One of my biggest criticisms of Nagy is halftime adjustments. And I thought we were one of the worst teams at adjusting at halftime or making mid-game or in-game, adapting to the situation changing. That's what my biggest criticism of him, because we'll go into halftime with a lead and then lose that game all the time. I used to hate that. So, like, if you're going to criticize somebody, you could be critical of stuff they did in a press conference, or if the players can't execute the plays. Like, if he designed a play for a player to be wide open and he's constantly overthrown, or and the ball is put on target and you see that the player is open, how can you criticize the coach for that? That's execution on the players. So
Chubbs makes a great point too. Last year, how long did it take them to score in the third quarter? That's certainly a telltale of coaching, because it's all about halftime adjustments.
Right. That's my criticism. That was my biggest criticism of him. I like, okay, you go into halftime, like, what are y'all doing at halftime if y'all come out so poorly? And that was my criticism of Nagy. So he needs to get better with that. I know, like I said, it was only preseason, but it did look like he made that adjustment at halftime. And like I said, that comes from learning as a coach. Like, learn from your situation, see what you can get better at. Like you said, he wanted to practice faster. Like, everything, like, it should be faster. So let's just see what the results of that, are going to be. And of course, winning cures all. So let's we can win some games, or at least look good out there, to a point where you just don't look like such a confused product on the field. I mean, that would help everything.
Well, and Chubbs points out again, the Justin Fields scored more touchdowns in the third quarter than the Bears did all season last year. But I did think that was one of the biggest things was Justin Fields adjustments. I mean, you from first half to second half was night and day. Obviously, you're playing some different defenders because they start to trickle some players out, starting to get into second and third string type of players. But also, if you look to Wednesday and Thursday's practices, by all reports, Justin had an up and down day Wednesday, and then Thursday had this amazing day, which Potsy said, as we talked about in the interview, was, the moment, as it was clear he was destined for greatness. That's what we'll look back on one day, is that Thursday practice against the Dolphins, where in a red zone drill, I think he had like 5 or 6 touchdowns, and all in different ways, running the ball into the end zone, passing, showing off all the different types of tools he has in his repertoire. You see here, like Potsy said, he's going to make, a lesser offensive lineman look good because of the speed he has and the power. Look at how he finishes the run there.
So fast. It's like you hear about the numbers and stuff like, oh yeah, it's 4.4 speed, this, that, and that. But until you see it on the field, like you see how fast he is. I was like, wow. Like, it was one play, I think he had like a 22-yard run, was it?
Yeah. I missed that one on video, and I was so mad because, man, he looked like Cam Newton on that run down the sidelines and then getting out of bounds.
I mean, just floating past, like you see the players running after him, and then they're just like disappearing in the dust behind. I'm like, man, because like a lot of people can run fast without pads, and like with your shorts on and stuff, like in-game speed. You really be able to tell, like how quick and fast they are responsive they can be.
Yeah, no question about it. And you're right, Big Day. He is fast, real fast. And he was asked in the press conference about his poise out of the pocket and what that does to the defense. And this was his response here.
Almost all of your teammates have kind of pointed out your poise. I think I see it most from you when you get outside the pocket. What is about scrambling outside of the pocket that kind of allows you to kind of be yourself, be so calm in that moment, look for receivers, or decide to take off and run?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel good outside of the pocket. I feel very comfortable, but I mean, it just puts a lot of stress on the defense. You know, just like today, I think there was one situation where it might have been, you know, a rollout or naked play to the right, and a defender was on Rodney, and he had to come off me late, so I just dumped it off to him. So it definitely puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and you know, it allows me to kind of really just play backyard football with the receivers and a scramble drill, and I think the more that happens and the more we can get on the same page, you know, when I do get out of the pocket, the better we can be. And of course, I also have to be able to make smart decisions. You know, I can't always force the ball. Of course, sometimes I'm gonna have to throw the ball away. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a part of my game where I feel very comfortable at, for sure.
There he is, you know, explaining in detail about, you know, his mindset when he gets out of the pocket. And he's right. He does put a lot of stress on the defense. And you see it on display in this play. He referenced it in that answer about, you know, how he puts the stress on the defense. And they have to make a decision on if they're going to approach Justin to try to make the tackle or stay with the wide receiver. And when he runs for a touchdown, now all of a sudden you're worried about the run.
Right.
But he's smart enough to be able to keep his eyes downfield and really put that DB or linebacker in a bind. And he has elite level speed. I mean, these are the kind of things, all due respect to Andy Dalton, it's just not the same. And he can make this offense so much more dynamic with that speed. It truly is impressive to see.
Yeah, I think we're like a better team last year than, you know, with Dalton at quarterback, but Justin Fields, we're that much better. Like almost like, you know, I mean, it's like I don't want to get like overly excited, but I think we're a way better team with Justin Fields than Andy Dalton. Not to say that Andy Dalton's going to be a bad quarterback or is a bad quarterback. He might be pretty good, but I just think we're that much better with Justin Fields. Almost like how, you know, the Kansas City, you know, was a good team, you know, with Alex Smith. You know, they won the first 4 games, made the playoffs with him. But look like how much better they were with Patrick Mahomes. Nothing against Alex Smith, you know, but it's like
it's the next level.
Right. He's just gonna make the team that much better, you know, hide some of the negatives with the offensive line and everything. And he seemed like such a smart player, and he plays with all the confidence in the world. And that's one thing you did not see with our ex-quarterback. I'm so like my last show, I was so mad at his comments about being in an environment now where they want to see him grow as a player and a person. I'm not going to do all that cursing on your show like I did.
Oh, go ahead. We curse on air.
I was so pissed because it's like, dude, we like our general manager traded up from 3 to 2 to draft you. That's how much they believed in you. And I'm really censoring myself. And you're gonna go off and say something like that. I like grow as a person and a player. Like you didn't grow as a player. Like you still can't read defenses, and that's why nobody wanted you. It's not like you became a free agent and that, like you had a market for yourself, and you're a quarterback. So it's like for him to say that, I was like, dude, you suck. That's why like know how much everybody wanted you to grow as a player. Like, come on, dude. Don't
he's gonna get booed relentlessly next Saturday, especially with the comments he had, and then obviously his lack of putting it all together here these last couple of years. You know, yeah, I obviously always rooted for Mitch. I get where he's coming from to a small extent, but I agree with you. At the end of the day, his talent just wasn't good enough, and that's why he was let go. It wasn't like – I mean, there's a lot of fans that never showed love to him. I mean, he was booed right out the gate at the Bulls game, and you know, there was a little bit of a honeymoon period when they made the playoffs and club dub, but that fell off dramatically in 2019 and 2020. Nick Foles got booed relentlessly yesterday when he came in after Justin Fields, a tough act to follow. So Bears fans got their knives out still for the quarterbacks that have wounded their feelings here the last few years. So Trubisky's going to have to wear the boos here next week. To me, I'm already moved on to the Justin Fields era. To me, it seems pointless to boo him. It all worked out for the Chicago Bears. He wasn't the one that chose to be drafted over Watson or Mahomes. That was Ryan Pace's decision. And they did make the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years he started, albeit not on the shoulders of Mitch, but he certainly was a part of those teams and helped that cause. So it wasn't like it was the worst 3-year stretch ever. I mean, prior to Mitch and Nagy being here, the Bears hadn't made the playoffs in a decade. So, beggars can't be choosers. But at the same time, we do want better for our team and our franchise. And Justin Fields certainly seems to be better. I would just say to Bears fans, let's just appreciate that it worked out for us. Sometimes when you miss on a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson prior to his off-the-field scandals, it takes a long time to recover from that. The Bears were able to bounce right out of the Mitch debacle and get a guy like Justin Fields in the house. We are extremely fortunate that turned out to be the case. And so everything happens for a reason. No one was saying the Bears should draft Patrick Mahomes at 3 or 2, but there are plenty of Bears fans that said they should have drafted Deshaun Watson at 2. It was an obvious choice. The guy had played in national championships, high pedigree talent, beaten Alabama a few times, and they didn't do that. And that came back to haunt him. But as I just said, everything happens for a reason. And look at what's going on with Deshaun Watson right now. He may never play in the NFL again, and the Houston Texans are going to get nothing for that. So what's, as ironic as it is, who got the worst end of the straw? The Bears, who picked Mitch and now have Justin Fields, or the Texans, who have Deshaun Watson and now are going to be left, with nothing potentially. So, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
and I just would tell Bears fans, just be appreciative that it worked out for us. For once, it worked out for the Chicago Bears. So that is a nice thing.
Because I'm very happy about the way it worked out. And it's not like they said, I have no regrets or anything, so especially the way things are going now. I'm more excited as a Bears fan probably than I've been since the Super Bowl season, where we went to the Super Bowl. And it's like I was excited about the team in general, but that's, the whole Rex being a quarterback thing. So it's like I was actually still kind of rooting for Mitch to do well, somewhere, but now because of his comments, I'm like,
it certainly turned it up a notch. Will wants to know if I'm going to wear a half Fields, half Trubisky jersey like Cap with his half Cubs, half Sox jersey. I will not be doing that, Will. I will be poolside somewhere in Las Vegas next Saturday. Unfortunately, I will not be at the Bears game, and I'll be wearing my Bears jersey proudly. No Mitch Trubisky jersey, and I will be rooting like hell for Justin Fields to ball out. It'll be certainly interesting because it certainly seems like it'll be Mitch versus Justin Fields for the majority of that game. So, I mean, for someone like me that enjoys bringing content to the Twitter streams, man, that would have been a haven of a game to be at. But unfortunately, not in the cards. I got to be with my buddies for his bachelor party. We'll be getting lit. But it's a noon kickoff next Saturday, so it'll be 10 a.m. in Las Vegas. So I'll be, drinking an early morning, Miami Vice while I'm sitting back, relaxing, watching the Chicago Bears take on the Buffalo.
What's that? Get your mimosas on.
Yeah, mimosa, something. I'll have a mimosa and a few strippers. No, I'm kidding.
Johnny Vegas is there? What?
Yeah, So we'll see. I'm surprised that Chubb's assessment is that he believes he should be booed. I just think Bears fans should just move on and have the focus on Justin Fields. That's just me. Even Foles yesterday, I felt bad when he was getting booed. I know he was terrible last year, and he's also had some comments in the press conferences here lately that even got me fired up. But we got to support this guy because we need to get him traded.
Right.
So
exactly, we want Foles to be. I need him to do well because we can trade him and
we got to up that trade value, baby.
Right.
But I actually have the prediction that if things continue to go the way they have with Justin Fields, that I believe, and this might be a Hail Mary call here, but I believe the Bears are going to trade Andy Dalton to a team that needs a quarterback at some point this season, because once Justin Fields enters the fold, both quarterbacks are a moot point, and you could have Nick Foles be the backup just as easily as you could have Andy Dalton be the backup, because either way, they're the backup. The focus is on Fields, and you might be able to get more for Andy Dalton than you would a pitiful Nick Foles, who even, a team like the Colts who have an injury at quarterback with Carson Wentz, they haven't even come knocking on the door yet for him and picked up a different veteran, aging, crappy quarterback. They could have picked up Nick Foles.
Who is the Colts quarterback? Because apparently Jacoby Brissett is on the Dolphins. So.
Right. Brissett's on the Dolphins. They just picked up a quarterback. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. He's not very good. Just an old, a retread quarterback that hasn't worked out anywhere else. But I believe that the better chance is to see Andy Dalton get traded, but I think that hinges on how fast, Justin Fields is ready to play, QB1. And that's been all the talk. You heard the question asked to Matt Nagy, and you could kind of see him starting to lean towards the Chubbs and Johnny B prediction of starting week 1 against Sunday Night Football. But Justin Fields was asked about where his focus is about being the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and here was his answer.
Coach Nagy said that he wants you to focus on today. That's important to him. How do you separate, I need to focus on today versus I want the starting job?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look too far in the future, you start worrying about way too much stuff. You start thinking too much in your head. And, Alex Smith, he came in and talked to the team this week and kind of just told us to worry about today and just live. That was his main point, was just to live because, of course, him coming off that injury, he was just telling us how grateful he was to get back on the field and play. So he played every game like it was his last game. And, that's what I was doing all day today, all last night. I was just, my mindset was just to go out there and no matter what happened, just play for today and kind of just try to act like, it was my last time and on the field and just take every opportunity and make the most of it.
Justin, what do you learn from?
Man, I love this guy's answers.
He's stone cold.
Wrote it better yourself if the way you want. Like, okay, I want him to say that he said this is a smart guy, man, and you can see it. I'm so excited. When somebody's a smart person and they're football smart as well, and with all those athletic gifts, I can't wait to see. Like, I just like I said, you can be hopeful and like, oh yeah, I think it's almost like I'm so sure about this guy, man. He just checks all the boxes, and literally like all of them. Like he's killing the press conferences. He's, giving the right. Like remember earlier before you even played that answer about him saying the game was a little bit slower than he thought. Right. Like I thought, like the way he was just seemed so almost too calm. Like his body, it was just like okay, and like just effortless. I'm like the way he just stepped back, he just seemed like
the moment's not too big for him.
Right.
And when you know why that is? Because he played at Ohio State, one of the biggest programs in the country. He was one of the #1 recruits coming out of high school. Guys like that, I cover a lot of high school sports for Region Sports Network. I'm around guys for football and basketball that know that they're going to play at the college level, and even some, very few, that know they're going to play at the NBA level. A guy like Romeo Langford, Indiana high school basketball superstar legend, highest scorer, kind of guy. He knew as a junior and senior in high school that he was going to be in the NBA. Those kind of guys carry themselves much differently because it's a business for them by the time they're a sophomore, freshman in high school because they're trying to pipeline their way to the league. A guy like Mitch Trubisky may have never thought he was going to get to the NFL. He never started with North Carolina until his senior year. And then, Ryan Pace decided to take a home run swing at him. He might not have ever thought he was ever going to be in that position. And you see the difference in mentality and bravado from a guy that knows he's going to be in the league and now is here to a guy that's just grateful to be here. That's the difference, and you see that on the field and off it. And that's certainly got Bears fans excited. It's got me excited. I know it's got you excited, but you not on top of it, playing at a big-time program in Ohio State, you play in big-time games like national championships, going up against Clemson, throwing 6 touchdown passes, having all this media press hounding you about that game. He's used to this stuff. So, yeah, he's cool as a cucumber, the real deal, Holyfield. You got old-timers saying, pump the brakes, let's see how he does. So, no. We're going to get hyped over here. That's all we do at Brags in the Stands. The old-timers and Will can be the cynical losers and act like it's never going to work out, but we'll be the eternal optimists over here. I know Will's just waking up. It must be a luxurious life, Trey, for Will. He's got the in-ground pool. He doesn't have to wake up until 10:30, 10:45, whatever time it was. He's probably got that cotton number for his blanket. It's like Egyptian. He probably sleeps on Egyptian blanket. Yeah.
Hand sewn and
He probably has someone at his house hand sew a new blanket for him every night so he doesn't have to he gets to use a new blanket every single night. He doesn't have to sleep on the same blanket.
Will, this is why you're a hater. Say something good about the Bears. I mean,
he can't do it. He spent the whole first half hating on the Bears, and then they balled out, and there's nothing from him.
Right? Are you a Bears fan? I mean, why are you? I mean, you act like we only had 2 yards rushing. On the preseason game, we had some pretty good running plays, and the running backs, room is probably deeper than it's ever been. But instead of saying that, you say this.
Yeah, he don't like this run apparently.
Right.
This guy, he's got game. He's got speed, bouncing to the outside. He's a little bit of a mini bulldozer. Not Will though. Will's not excited, and Will went back on his word too. Will said he wasn't going to watch any Bears games. He wasn't going to waste his time. And instead, not only does he watch the Bears game, but he's live tweeting the whole time the most negative shit possible.
Will, the Bears are not your ex-girlfriends, okay? The Bears are not your ex-girlfriends.
He lives in reality, not dreams. Now you're starting to sound like Pat Bleck's kiddo. Now you're starting to sound like, or not even Pat Bleck's kiddo. Dan Wiederer loves to say that he's a realist and everybody else is living in the clouds because, God forbid, if you're not negative, aka cynical, then you're not living in reality. Maybe the reality is Justin Fields is a very good quarterback and this team does have a lot of potential. So we shall see. Pat Bleck, will. I agree. We got to deal with this guy. It is what it is. And that's very apropos for Wiederer because turning that key to get his engine starting. Because he's always so Eeyore. All his takes are always Although I have seen him be a little more outspoken about what Justin Fields' greatness could become. He's always normally the one that's like, pump the brakes. I got my old timer dad texting me earlier yesterday telling me, and this is what's so funny about the baby boomer generation. They just can't help themselves. But he's like, I call it the way I see it. The new QB was not impressive today. We will see what next week brings. I hope he does well, but this team is not on the caliber of the 85 Bears. So a mediocre quarterback is not going to cut it in 2021. I was like, Dad, like, come on, man. He's a rookie.
I think Bragg froze up right there. But
First team. And then, and I completely agree, Jeremy, for 100%. Every pessimist thinks they got it all figured out. And really what it is they're hedging. They're hedging, so it's almost like they can they can never be wrong. So if you don't stand out on something and try to stand by, a positive take, then you don't have to worry about your legs getting cut out from under you and having old cold takes exposed come at you. So if you just say everything negative and then eventually something works out, then you're good. But to me, the pessimist eventually is going to miss something because they're being overly cautious as far as, how they perceive things. That's in life and in sports, in my opinion. It's hedging. It's just a way of hedging, Chubbs is agreeing here, and they're scared. It's okay. It's okay. If you're scared, buy a dog. But yes, again, think about when Justin Fields starts throwing the ball to Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, David Montgomery in the backfield, Marquise Goodwin, who's shown explosive separation at camp. He's making guys like Rodney Adams and John Vea Johnson, who's not even listed on the depth chart, and Mark Potash was saying, like, this guy is looking like a great wide receiver. Well, that's because he's got Justin Fields throwing to him. Same with Rodney Adams. So, these guys very well may make the team, but just wait till he's throwing to the guys that get serious separation, like a Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, or Marquise Goodwin. The sky's the limit, and if you can't see it, you got blindfolders on.
Man, Darnell Mooney is so fast and can run routes. Just wait till you see the separation he gets out there. I mean, this dude is quick. Like, you can be fast, but when you can make quick moves, you're gonna break a lot of ankles out there. You're gonna see a lot of DBs slipping and falling and doing this, looking like they're on roller skates. And Justin Fields is gonna be able to put the ball where it's supposed to be. And that's what I'm excited about the most, because Anthony Miller gave you a lot to be hopeful for when you saw him, his rookie year, right? And I don't know what happened to him, but it seemed like he started to get lost in his routes. It's like you didn't see the execution during the route running like you saw before, or I just don't know what it was exactly. Then he got hurt. What's crazy is you just got injured with Houston too, so he's got to get an MRI, I think, on the shoulder or something, so he can't catch a break. But when you see Mooney and you see, of course, A-Rob, he's undoubtedly, like, I wish they'll give that man an extension, but I
agree.
But just wait till you see. I think you'll even see, I want Andy Dalton to do well, better than he did with the first team offense. In there a few. I know it's limited, only a few reps, but at least get some first downs, move the ball down the field, even if it's a field goal. I would like to see something, but let's just hope that the O-line can hold up.
That's going to be key. I like the Jason Peters signing. They need to bolster depth until Tevin Jenkins is ready to go, and it scares me just as much as it scared Potsy that this guy won't be ready well into the season, and I see the same thing. I know a lot of Bears fans are like, relax, he'll be fine. I'm not seeing that yet, so I'm on the very nervous to panicked mode when it comes to Tevin Jenkins, which is unfortunate because he seems like a guy that has the right kind of mindset, a Kyle Long type. But as we learned with Kyle Long, he could never stay healthy either. So you can be a brute force and a savage on the line, but if you're not playing, it does you no good. And I completely agree with Chubbs here in regards to pessimist versus optimist. I would much rather be a fan. And this speaks to my heart because I'm the same way. I'm going to have a great time being a fan, getting overhyped. And if it doesn't work out, I can take the disappointment, but I'd rather get excited about my guys than be miserable the entire time because you're just as likely to be wrong if you're a pessimist as you are if you're an optimist. This is something Weeder and David Kaplan go through all the time. Just because you're hedging and staying negative doesn't mean you're living in reality. The reality lies in the middle. So while someone's getting a little too overhyped on the sauce, and then someone's trying to hold their cards back and wait and see. Well, we all got to wait and see until it becomes reality. So the truth lies in the middle, and I think some people take their takes and predictions a little too seriously because everybody's got to be the smartest sports analyst on Twitter. And, I'm a fan, so I'm not worried about being the smartest. Somebody else can be the smartest analyst. It ain't me, and I'm not worried about it either. We're going to have fun, be fans in the stands, and be passionate about our team. And, it is what it is. You're going to get some right. You're going to get some wrong. But I completely agree. And Brian Sanchez said, I 100% agree, Chubby82, which I thought was hilarious. He corrected it. He said Chubbs 82, but we might have to start calling Chubbs Chubby 82. I kind of like that for him. And of course, Will has got to chime in and say, "Don't worry, Train Braggs. I'm not going to brags when the Bears go 5-12. I'm waiting for 22 when Nagy with 2 G's is fired." So, Will, I'll tell you this much because I believe the Bears will win a minimum of 8 games. You believe it's 5. So let's set an over-under. If you want to really put your money where your mouth is, set it at 5. And when the Bears go over 5, you have to come over to my house and watch a Bears game and take a picture of me and you spooning. That's the deal.
Oh, man.
I think that's a good deal. If he's wrong, you got to spoon with me. Then you get on the spooning list with Bearlissimo, and then you never live it down. And then if I'm wrong, we'll come up with something. I don't know what.
I'm going to write a parody song, and the image is going to have a feature song, and we're going to put it all over YouTube everywhere.
Nature Boy says, "Don't forget, spooning leads to forking."
Nature Boy in the building.
For those of you that don't know that are watching this show, maybe for the first time, Will likes to give me crap because I went to a Bears game in London with Bearlissimo, who's a very popular Bears Twitter guy. He's on the Tape Never Lies network. He calls into David Kaplan's show all the time. He took me to the Bears game in London a few years ago, and we stayed at this little hotel behind a bar. And there wasn't much room in the room we had, which was right down the street from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And so, we shared a bed. I was wasted. We went to the famous Three Kings pub. I was sleeping on the floor. He could tell I was uncomfortable, and he said, "Saddle up with me." It's on YouTube for those of you that don't know. You can really live the experience as I did with George Bayless, aka Bearlissimo. I'm never going to make Bearlissimo jealous. He's my one and only Thunder buddy, but we did what we had to do that night to get a good night's rest for the Bears game that day. So it is what it is. So, going back to Justin Fields, and one more clip that I wanted to play was him talking about his connection with some of these guys on the back end of the roster as far as wide receivers go, specifically Rodney Adams, who's made some big plays at camp, at Family Fest, and then again here on Saturday afternoon on the lakefront at Soldier Field for the first preseason game. And these were Justin Fields' thoughts.
The first drive of the third quarter, you hit Rodney up the left side. And what did you see there in terms of what he was facing, and obviously game up?
That first drive?
On the third quarter. The one.
Oh, you're talking about the fade where he jumped?
25-yard.
Jumped it? Yeah, I just saw man on man. Me and Rodney, we've had a great connection, in training camp, and of course I trust him a lot. So threw it up there and gave him a chance. And of course, he made a great catch. So that was an awesome catch by him, and an explosive play for sure.
Just going back to that column.
And there he is talking about Rodney Adams and that comfortability, which we saw on display yesterday. The this angle of this throw, it seemed like Justin Fields may have underthrew it, but when you consider that the DB has his head turned and he mentions that it was man coverage, he knows that the DB kind of has to keep his eyes on the wide receiver. So he just puts it where the wide receiver can go up and get it. Could it have been maybe a little more towards the sidelines? Sure, but Rodney Adams made a play, and we saw that last week, in the Family Fest. People give me crap for sharing this, that it was just a 7-on-7 thing, but you see how they go from Family Fest and making plays, and then that transfers over into a preseason game, which very well could lead to transferring over into a regular season game. So that's why you don't undersell completely what you're seeing at training camp or in the preseason, because this is the stuff they have to work on to get into the regular season. And I think a guy like Rodney Adams will be the last receiver on the depth chart that makes the final 53. I doubt he's practice squad, but at the very least, that's where he'll be. He'll be on this team when preseason is over. That's my prediction. I certainly like what I've seen. I'm rooting for John Vea Johnson because he's from Gary, Indiana. He's made a lot of big plays at camp. He didn't do much yesterday as far as noteworthy plays, but they're very interesting. All these different wide receivers they're putting out there. This Chris Lacey. They just cut Thomas Ives. They had, like I said, Rodney Adams and John Vea Johnson. I think Javon Wims and Riley Ridley are in big trouble to lose their roster spots. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I've always like Ridley, and it's like you just gotta see it on the field though. It's like, and I know Williams left a bad taste in everybody's mouth dropping that pass in the playoff game last year, and it's like, they just got to put up or shut up. I guess what it's going to come down to is execution and just laying it all out there on the line, and just showing that you deserve to be there is what it's going to come down to, and a little bit of luck. Some things got to kind of go their way, but in order for that to happen, you got to execute and play your ass off. And I guess we'll kind of see who wants it more, because it's not like they're just going to play favoritism. They want the best players on the field. So you just got to kind of see what happens when it comes down to that. And,
I completely agree.
Right.
Chubbs is asking if I got the video of the no-look pass. Unfortunately, I don't think I did. I was recording as much as I could, but I don't think I caught that one. But if I did, I guess I didn't realize it was a no-look pass from the vantage point I had. He was rolling out. I saw it played again on Twitter. I'll have to go back through my gallery and see if I've got that one. But it didn't occur to me in the moment at the game that it was a no-look pass. It just looked like a dump down to the receiver. But then when you watch it on TV, you see that.
When he threw across his body?
Yeah, when he threw across his body at the last second.
So you kind of – because I know it came out like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard. You got the helmet on when you're at the stadium. You can't see where their eyes are, but when you watch on TV, you can clearly see it was a no-look pass. And then I see a few people, Jeremy Forer asking, a guy fighting for a roster spot doesn't get a chance with the ones in the preseason. Rodney Adams actually did get some playing time with the ones. He was out there with Andy Dalton to start the game. So, Allen Robinson didn't play. So he did get some opportunities yesterday. He's gotten some one reps at camp as well. I've been waiting for John Vea Johnson to get some better reps than the back end third string, because I'm rooting for him, but I don't think he's going to make the team. Maybe a practice squad, but he'll be lucky to get there. But I'm rooting for him as hard as I can. He's my new Tanner Gentry. Huh?
What do you think about Jesse James?
Yeah, he's going to make this team. And certainly, they've had some big time connection at camp where, where Fields is fitting it in the keyhole. This is actually the Horsted, not Jesse James, but Jesse James is a big body, comes from the Steelers, made some big plays for them. So he, you know what you're getting from him, and they've already developed a connection, Justin Fields and Jesse James. You can see that he locks into him at times. And that's because Jesse James is such a big target with good hands. Now, obviously, the touchdown pass, that was easy breezy. The guy's wide open. It was more about the play design. But, hey, we've seen quarterbacks in this town overthrow that play and spoil the big play. So, he comes down with it. He ran the good route. And as I said before, I said before, they ran this play at camp. So, practice makes perfect. So, I think a guy like Jesse James is going to fit in nicely to that tight end room with Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. It certainly will be exciting to see. There's just a lot to be excited about the Chicago Bears. Their depth is getting better across the board. I think cornerback is certainly a concern. How the offensive line shakes out, probably those are the two biggest concerns. But other than that, they've got talent across the board on this team. Their defensive line looks like it's back and ready to go as long as they stay healthy. The linebacking core looks solid with the addition of Alec Ogletree knifing through the defense on that goal line stand where Tonga pancaked his guy, and that allowed Alec Ogletree to shoot up the middle and make the tackle on third down.
Ogletree looked good. But like you said, it starts with the line, and man, you just saw what is that the one? Well, he had a few plays where tackles for losses, and that one, where the dude pancake. That's why I was kind of got excited about the defensive effort. You just kind of I know it's preseason, but this is something I was kind of expecting going until I said, all right, this team's fired up. Especially with the new defensive coordinator and everything, and all that. I feel like when you listen to Khalil Mack's press conferences, they know they got to step it up and make something happen. And when everybody's there, and just got to have everybody be healthy. But when you have the depth at the same time, I really, of course, you don't expect 2018, but defense. But I definitely expect a lot more turnovers and a lot more pressure on the quarterback. And hopefully, sacks will lead to that as well.
100%. And Big Dollar Dave points out that Pinheiro hit a nice 53-yarder. It was actually Cairo Santos. I don't think Pinheiro's on the Bears anymore.
Right.
But Cairo
Santos.
I like Cairo a lot, man. He's the kind of kicker you need in this town. He understands how to cut through the wind. That Soldier Field wind can be very tough. A lot of quarterbacks, it's humble or kickers, it's humbled in this city. But Cairo seems to handle it perfectly, and I really like his swag there on special teams. So Bear Truth 9's in the chat, and he says, Jason Peters, Whitehair, Mustipher, Daniels, and Borum will be our offensive line. I tend to agree with him. Prior to the concussion that Larry Borum suffered, I talked to the offensive line coach, Juan Castillo, and he predicted to me, he didn't have to divulge this. He volunteered this information to me and said he thought Larry Borum had won himself a starting job. And that was prior to the concussion. So obviously he's going to have a little bit of an uphill battle to regain the good graces that he had earned at that point. But he's such a big dude, just wide. He's like a brick wall, and I think he will fill in nicely on that right side. And then hopefully Tevin Jenkins can eventually get going. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm certainly nervous about it. Carlos got paid, but he deserves it because I think he's the perfect fit for the Chicago Bears and kicking at Soldier Field. Tariq Cohen, we got Brandon Bahama in the chat, a great friend and loyal viewer to the show. He wants to know about Tariq Cohen. Is he done? Justin Herbert looked great. We've been playing his clip a few times, Brandon. I think Justin Herbert is a huge pickup for this team. It'll be interesting because, if you're going to get David Montgomery 20-plus carries a game, well, you also have, Khalil Herbert, as you see right there, Damian Williams. And then when Tariq Cohen gets healthy, he's going to play. I don't know how. There's only one ball and so many snaps, but they're going to have to figure it out. And that makes me nervous for Matt
Throwing
Nagy
him out there
because
as a third receiver or something.
right. And well, Matt, you've seen in the past with Cordero Patterson, sometimes he gets a little too outside of his head trying to use all these different options, doesn't know when to put them in at the best spots. And like David Montgomery, it's 3rd and 1, and he's on the sidelines, and they're pitching it to Cordero Patterson. Like, hopefully, situationally, Matt Nagy understands how to use these guys in the right situations, from Damian Williams, Khalil Herbert, and Tariq Cohen once he gets healthy. Artavis Pierce, he looked good at the end of the game, but I think he's a practice squad candidate at this point. They're just too deep. That's just simply it. That is exactly what she said. First office quote of the day, and it took almost 2 hours into the show for us to get there. So that's a surprise. We've had a good round football talk. It's been very exciting, watching all this come together. Seeing Justin Fields, huddle up there in the tunnel was one of the cooler experiences. The start of a new era for the Chicago Bears. We'll see how it goes. Will doesn't think it'll go for shit, but the rest of us are excited for it. So this is what it's all about for Chicago Bears fans. We got Justin Fields in the house, and now we get to watch him grow. This was a great first step, and hopefully many more big-time steps to come starting next week against Mitchell Trubisky and the Buffalo Bills. That'll be interesting. I did have a funny video to share. I wanted to get your reaction on it in some of the chat. I didn't get a chance yesterday to harass any Packer fans, but this is my tradition when I go to Bears games. There was actually one kid wearing a Packers jersey, but I didn't get a chance through all my different coverage of what was going on the field to harass this guy. But I do have a previous harassment moment from Family Fest, and I wanted to get your reaction from it.
Excuse me, sir. May I ask why you're bringing Packer fans to our Family Fest? This is a family event and you're ruining it. Bring in the Packer. What are you, Intel? Are you CIA? You're going to go snitch? Nah. So what'd you think of Justin Fields? Come on now. All right, well, what do you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer after next season? And are you worried? No. So, do you think that you could pick a Bears fan to date? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure she's really nice.
I'll turn her into one.
All right, you're going to turn her into one. Hey, it takes time, man. It takes time. All right, well, best of luck to you. And you behave, all right? Make him a steak dinner tonight or something after showing you the Chicago Bears. You guys have a good one.
I love it, especially if it's all in good fun and nobody's like being obnoxious or something. Just all good fun. Because, at the end of the day, we're all people, and you can fan for whoever you want to fan for, but, you can all smile about it at the end of the day. Of course, when I say I hate the Packers, I hate the Packers, but as a sports team, not, you don't want to do anything crazy or violent to the people. Because
I always try to keep it light. That's part of my charm. I'm not. Sports are supposed to be fun. I mean, there was a time and day when Braggs used to go to games as a young 18-year-old and get drunk or whatever and run around looking for trouble. But those days are long gone. I like to just keep it fun, keep it light. I shared it on Facebook and Twitter, and I did have some, pushback from fans that said that wasn't right, which I thought was a little soft of them. Like, I know the difference between, as far as harassing Packer fans, because it could become a problem. I know,
call it that, but I mean, what did you say to them that was just so out of line? And
that's the thing. I always am going to keep it light, and I don't pick fans that I can see are more on the toxic side. I'm not going to approach a fan that looks like he's ready to throw blows in honor of his rival team.
Right.
It's a little bit of a trick, and then a trick to the trade when you're identifying a fan that will take it a little better than some of the ones that are a little too fired up. But anytime I do these, I always ask for permission to post it later. I explain who I am and what I do. but it's all fun. Sports are supposed to be fun. And I know, I agree, Chubbs. People are soft. There were people in Facebook coming at me about it, like, oh, one day it's going to be a problem. Like, just trust me. I'm always going to keep it light. I'm always going to keep it fun. I'm not somebody that gets toxic. I enjoy good, friendly fan banter, and that's all it was. But it was a fun moment. Patty, Ramos, Laura enjoyed it, and I'm always looking for Packer fans. So if you're out there at Soldier Field, get ready for Braggs to run up on you. That's what we do at Braggs in the stands.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I like going to road games so much, because you get the hostility in there, and then if you winning, you get to rub it in their face in their building, and it's like I've never been to Green Bay, but I did go to a game in Detroit. And they like lit an Urlacher jersey on fire right there, and
That's
it was
crazy.
a lot, right? And you're there, and we're tailgating. We got our Bears tent up. It's like a Bears bus over there, and it's all it was outside of lighting. I mean, even the people that did it kind of just did it, and they were like. They shook our hands. It's not like get out of our face. It wasn't anything obnoxious, and that's what you want, like good fun, and everybody has a good time. Unfortunately, we did lose that game because of Megatron, but it was that Monday night game. Remember where Barry Sanders came back? That's the game I went to, and yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, rest in peace, Biz Marquis.
I was gonna say you were sitting by Biz, right?
Yeah. That's the game. And he's such. I didn't realize how big he was, and he's like 6'5" or something. He like had like 8 seats. He just had his arm just how he like, yeah, these are all my seats. He just sits there. It was so tripped out, man. And man, like I said, rest in peace to Biz. But like, yeah, being a fan on the road, I've been to Pittsburgh, with Dallas twice, Indianapolis. Where else? Detroit. I just said, and I can't remember the other one right off the top of my head. But yeah, it's always a great experience, and like the hostility is fun. Like and obnoxious and of course, not as many people are going to approach me and be obnoxious to me anyway because I'm a bigger guy myself.
And this is where Chubbs is correct. Like Philly, Oakland, now Vegas now. Yeah, you got to be careful with certain fan bases, and that's what it's all about. You gotta be careful. It is a little bit of a game of picking the right candidate for these harassment videos. You don't just run up on anybody because you've seen in baseball the San Francisco Giants fan that got beat up by the Dodgers fans. There's some fans that take this shit way too seriously and can't have fun with it, and they act like it's like tribalistic, and it's war against the other team. You see soccer fans across the pond. They take it really seriously. Like you ain't running up on fans over there. They'll stab you. Literally, they will stab you.
Right.
But so that's why
what do you think about our goalie? Stab.
Yeah, you got to be careful. But at the same time, there was a fight last night with the Rams game. It was very funny. Did you see it? I wish I would have pulled it up, but the video is really funny. I might be able to share it. Let's see if we can do it. Chubbs. I'm not, I'm learning how to use this stuff now. It's not easy for me. I'm not technologically sound, but we can give it a shot here.
All right.
Here, we'll see. Hold on here. See, now I'm messing up here. Oh, wait, I know what to do. Bang. So we'll go over to Twitter. And we'll see if we can pull it up. If I can type in and then cue the Pornhub jokes. Everybody's got the jokes. All right, so we'll search Rams fan. Rams Chargers fight. All right, here we go.
All right. You know what's so funny about when guys fight like this. It's so much talk. When women fight, they just go straight into blows, and it's not a whole lot of talking. Like especially in the clubs, like guys say, "See, look at." Like, did you see that backhand? Go back.
He tried to backhand like 5 guys.
Right. This is hilarious. Jeez, oh my God, that is so funny. This is funny. Why is he punching him in the butt like that? Did somebody just throw beer on?
How funny is this?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness gracious! And then the rolls start coming out. Everybody that hasn't been to the gym, but yeah, how about it? He looked very scary at first. Like you don't want to mess with this dude. He's got the Aaron Donald. He's looking really intense. He's flexing. He's telling them all, bring it, and they're all kind of saying, but everybody's kind of giggling. But then this lady behind the guys throws her cup, and so he backhands. He tries to backhand like all the way down the line too. Yeah, and then they beat the brakes off him for a minute. And this guy's punching him in the butt.
Right. Butt punches.
Look at he did. He punched him in the butt like 5 times, and then they're giving him beer showers.
Like a massage, the way he's
And then there's the girl getting the girl that started it all by throwing her cup. She's getting her shirt ripped off, and now she's out. Now she's hugging this guy whose butt crack is sticking out. There was a lot going on there. A great moment for all Chicago's
form right there.
Yeah, definitely in mid-season form. Let me.
So there you have. Able to share the screen with the videos. Braggs is learning. All right. Did he just take himself out of the stream? I don't see him in the show anymore.
I'm back.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm like, what happened? I'm looking down like, where did he go?
I tried to exit out of it, but I guess I exited the whole browser. I don't know what I'm doing, Trey. You're the tech guy. I'm not the tech guy. I'm just a moron trying to do a stupid show.
I gotta use StreamYard more so I can get used to it. Because I use OBS and it's a little different. Well, it's really a lot different.
But you had a chance to get all the talking in while I was gone. You got 6 seconds to get as much as you could in.
I got what happened to Braggs? Where did he go? And then he popped right back in.
You're like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Right.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh man. I'll tell you what, I do want to give a shout out to my different sponsors to this show, the Collector's Cave. They're doing a lot of great things. Visit www.thecollectorcave.com for all your sports memorabilia needs. And also keep on the lookout for public autograph signings where you can meet and greet some of your famous favorite professional athletes, specifically in the Chicagoland area. They've just done Dan Hampton signing recently, Scott Podsednik in Chicago. For all you White Sox fans out there, all fired up for their season. What a game that was for the Field of Dreams game, which we can talk about here in a minute. And they actually have Andre Dawson coming up September 18th at Indiana Beach. So a lot of different signings. They have some big signings coming up down the road as well. So make sure you go to www.thecollectorcave.com and go ahead and you'll get hooked up with some cool stuff, man. They do great work over there. They're my guys. Doing a lot of different live shows with them. Probably will be live for that Indiana Beach showing for Andre Dawson meet and greet. Hopefully my internet's running smoothly. But if I can't get my internet right at home, when am I going to get it right?
Definitely check that when you can do the speed test. We can wait till we go off air, and then I could try to walk you through a few things and see. And then I have you. It's probably best to just buy you can test out this software. It's called Advanced System Care.
Okay,
and it helps with a lot of things on your computer, malware, virus, all around just computer health. And like I think you can like do a trial thing so you can download it and like see the improvement and monitor the activity and performance of the computer at the same time.
We'll get it figured out. I appreciate everybody's patience today with it. I apologize. I always want my shows to be as smooth as possible, but it is what it is. You got to roll with the punches. Chubbs is asking, the NFL Game Pass, as they stop doing all 22. At the moment, I guess it is not available. I don't have NFL Game Pass. I'm like Potsy. I don't break down the film like my guy Draft Dr. Phil over at the Tape Never Lies Network. Apparently, the all 22 is still available for Barlissimo across the pond for the UK version of NFL Game Pass, but it isn't right now for people in the United States. So apparently they're going to bring it back at some point, but as of right now, it is not available. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out for people that like to break down the film and things of that nature. I'm not one of those people. I got my own film. It's all on my camera. The Brags 22 is better than the all 22, especially at Soldier Field. So let me know if you need something. I'll hook you up if the price is right. Boy. But yeah, we can talk about the Field of Dreams game real quick. What did you think about it, Trey? Because I'm a Cub fan. I like to give Sox fans shit, especially with their stupid L flag. But I have to admit, I watched that entire game, all the pregame ceremonies with Kevin Costner coming out the corn, all the players coming out the corn. Just to me was one of the coolest viewing experiences I've ever had watching any sporting event.
Right.
And the game itself was incredible with the Yankees coming back with 2 2-run home runs and then the walk-off by Tim Anderson. I mean, a game for the ages, one of the highest rated MLB games, I think, in 16 years in the regular season. So, Trey, what were your thoughts on it? Because I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, you finally, baseball finally got something right.
Yeah.
And that's the way I felt about it. I'm like, wow. I didn't know what to expect first. I'm like, okay, they're just doing this, and it was fun. It was fun for a lot of people. It was different. The first MLB game, like professional MLB game in Iowa, it was like they did so well with the production of it, like the field itself. I mean, it was like the set, like the design, everything was on point. And I was just like, this is pretty nice. And then the game itself made everything that much better.
They couldn't have scripted a better first game, man.
Right.
It was storybook. The way Tim Anderson rounded the bases with the fireworks coming up, and he's going like this. I mean, I'm not a hater of the team. I like to mess with the fans a little more, but the game was incredible. Of course, Will, who's always got to be the opposite of anything normal, didn't like the damn Field of Dreams game, which is ridiculous.
Will hates the sun shining and dolphins and rainbows. It's like
babies laughing. He can't stand it.
Stupid baby, you don't even know what's funny.
Quit laughing.
Why are you laughing?
Baby. It's funny. Speaking of quit laughing, when I was at the Cubs game when the Sox were beating the brakes off us on Sunday Night Baseball, I was I took over for the security guy. He had to go up and throw somebody out for vaping. So I went up on the bleacher at the end of the aisle and was acting like I was security. And I was like pointing at all the Sox fans. And I was like, stop laughing. No smiling. And I was like, I hate when little kids smile. So I was channeling my inner Will there.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm just being a realist. The baby probably has gas. He doesn't know what's funny. He doesn't understand what you're saying. I'm just being real. The good baby doesn't know what to laugh at yet. They don't have that cognitive thought.
Will wants a Happy Gilmore golf game. That would be great. I loved Happy Gilmore.
That's actually pretty good.
Great idea, Will. Let's finally a good idea that comes from Will, and he's being facetious while he brings it up. But and then we got the longest yard game going to be fire.
Right.
I like this idea as well. If you watch the Hard Knocks with the Dallas Cowboys, they kind of got a little bit of a longest yard feel going on with their training camp facility and their practice field. And like almost like the Bears facilities at Hallis Hall are gorgeous. It's amazing to go to Hallis Hall. You go to the Dallas Cowboys training camp facilities and it looks like something out of a prison yard. Honestly, it's hilarious to see. It's nothing like
the wire up on the background.
Yeah, it's nothing like the campus at Hallis Hall. And if you ever get a chance, I'm giving away 4 tickets on Twitter to training camp for tomorrow. But it's certainly nothing like this. Where
what's cool about your phone? It's almost like it has a built-in. What's that? The gimbal thing, like the glide is smooth. Like it's almost like it's built in, like that little handle that helps,
keep the motion and stuff.
So it doesn't look like it doesn't seem like you're walking. It's more like a float.
Well, that's because I'm gliding. I'm doing like the Michael Jackson move there.
Okay. All right. Like there's no like just straightforward and I have seen you walk with it. You do have like a method to the way you walk when you do.
Good. I got the moves. Trey got the moves.
And I'm sorry, like
do you have a hotkey set for it?
Oh yeah, I go to that all the time. It's ready. It's in the hopper.
It's
just
right there. Like you just press Control T for Trey, and boom, that pops up like automatically.
Yep,
it's always ready.
It's ready. I gotta play it. I got that on cue, and then of course, I have the other one that I always like to play on cue. I can't help myself. It is literally what I do. I got that one, of course.
But it's good to talk to somebody when you don't know you're not going to feel judged about stuff, and you just you don't want to feel vulnerable and all that stuff. It's really healthy to get those thoughts out your mind and thoughts off your chest. And I know, like what I'm saying right now is good advice, but this is the drunkest I've been on this show. I'm drunk, and it's y'all fault.
There it is. We do indulge on the Trey Toon Show, and on Brags in the Stands. Sometimes me and Will will take our shirts off and while he plays the guitar and indulge in a few.
I gotta go back and get that clip.
Yeah,
that's the clip we need to go back and because what I can't remember what day it was. Were we doing a crossover show that day, or did I?
Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because we were giving Will the link, and he took him like 5 tries to get it right. He kept trying to call or something, and he wouldn't go click on the link or something like that. Yeah, so we got to get that clip. You guys had the shirts off. It was hilarious. I also got to go back and get the clip of me of my rant of Trubisky. It's a lot of stuff I've been saying over the past couple of.
You gotta get that, and then you got to go back and we got to get the station ID from Beck and John and their family.
Right.
I still haven't done that. It's killing me that I haven't.
Yeah, because it was bad. It was not bad, but I do so many shows. It's like you got to kind of go through a sea of show clips. But it does, because I'm a Prime member, it saves my shows for the last like 60 days, I think.
Oh shit! It might not be there.
You think it was over was it over 60 days ago?
It might have been. This summer's flying by for me.
Right, it is August. Jesus
but we do
Christ.
still have the clip of Trey throwing the football. I don't have it in the hopper, unfortunately, or else I'd pull that up right now. I mean, I might have.
Dave, man, I thought we was cool, man. Why did you have to bring that up?
Yeah, I don't think I have it. I wish I did. I could see if I
can't
did.
wait. Like when we do tailgating, we gotta set up something, kind of similar to that. It shouldn't be too hard to do.
Hey, how much for CJ?
When you pulled up and said, that was so funny. What was it, like 5 o'clock in the morning? It was earlier than that. What about 5:15?
Yeah, it was early.
Something like that.
It was early.
And I haven't. What a day that was! Jesus Christ! Like I wasn't even asleep yet.
The best day, my friend. That was the best day. Today's been a good day too, man. We've had a good show. Internet aside, talk some Bears. I do want to give a shout out to my guys, Stephen Nageshi right next to me, Samir from the Bears Bonanza podcast, and then my guy Alex Acevedo from the Tape Never Lies Network. And these guys, it was a lot of fun hanging out with them. I'm running all over the place when I'm at a game. You know this, Trey. You've been with me at Wrigley, although I did stay seated for the majority of that game. But I'm normally all over the place trying to do as much coverage, so to speak, as I can. But had a lot of fun with these guys, running back and forth, trying to get the best shots of Justin Fields scoring touchdowns. I wanted to give a shout out to all these guys. Stephen Nageshi and Alex Acevedo was their first time ever at Soldier Field, so had to have been a cool experience for them, being that it was Justin Fields' first ever start. And then, of course, I want to shout out my guy, Bearman. He wasn't in his full regalia in the middle. He didn't have all the war paint on and the Bears hat on, but Donnie Boy is a good friend of mine and want to give him a shout out. He's always hooking me up. He hooked me up with the tickets here yesterday. And then, of course, I don't know if you're aware of, from the Draft Network, Paige DeMacos was at the game. Got to say hi to her. She's a really, really sweet girl. Talked football for a good 20 minutes with her. And congratulations to all your success, Paige. She's killing it over there at the Draft Network. So make sure you go and follow her content along as well. So, that's what we do here. We do shout outs at Brags in the Sands. I want to make sure I give all my good people as a shout out. Trey, you always get the shout outs here too.
Hey, listen here, Sparkles. You're listening to the Trey Toon Show right here on Twitch. And if you're not, you're better than that. Get with the program. Take that. This is David Kaplan. Rock and roll, baby. The Trey Toon Show, one of my all-time favorites.
There he is, the man that he almost ran out of breath like halfway through that.
Right. Take that. The Trey Toon Show.
And then he recovers, and then he gets his second win. He's like, I'm back. Right. I love David Kaplan. Nobody that is more in your corner than a guy like David Kaplan. I love David. I would take a bullet for that guy. Great dude.
Yeah, man, he's such an awesome guy, man. I gotta try to make it out to one of the remotes with him and Hoodie, too. One day. I know. It's like, the drive. I know the drive is far for you a lot, but especially like when they're like deep northwest and north. It's like you don't want to make those trips in the morning. Like in the morning, the traffic is going to be unbearable. It's probably going to be like a two-hour ride, to say the least. And but I definitely got to get out there and try to make it to something that they do
for sure.
Well, I know you're going to be out of town this Saturday, but I think everybody's going to be at that fantasy football thing, right?
Yeah, I've never been to one of those. It certainly looks like a lot of fun. Field Yates is going to be there. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Isn't it a paid thing to go to?
Yeah, I bought my ticket like a month ago. I bought my ticket early because I didn't want to. It was like $20. I didn't want to be, wait till the last minute. And
where is it?
Out.
Is it at a casino?
It's somewhere. It's called 115 Bourbon. I forget what suburb it is. I think it's a south suburb though.
Okay. We'll be on the lookout for that. Yeah, the ESPN 1000 Fantasy Football Gathering. They do that every year. Yeah, imagine chilling with Cap and Braggs. It'd be a lot of fun, Will. Be a lot more fun than hanging out with you and little kid being negative losers like you are. So
little Kev said something like, I don't think he was as against the Field of Dreams game as Will was, but he said something, are they going to do a Space Jam game? I'm like, if they did, it would be.
It'd be really all his little condescending questions trying to make fun of the Field of Dreams game are good ideas. The Happy Gilmore game, the Longest Yard game, the Space Jam game, all great ideas, Will. Right. So I think you're in your wheelhouse finally coming up with good ideas, because normally they're nothing but bad takes and bad ideas. But for today, you've gotten some good ones out there. So I guess every dog has its day. And yes, Armando Lara, will not forget about Ivan Vargas. I forgot to share that picture along. We did take a picture, all of us together. Ivan was hanging out with Stephen Nageshi and Alex Acevedo and Samir while I was running around doing coverage. So he kind of got to see what Brags is all about, as I'm literally bolting from the each side of the field, from the north end zone to the south end zone, depending on which way the play was going. And at one point, when Fields was about to score the second touchdown, I'm booking it past them. And I was like, I'll be right back. And then that's when I got behind the north end zone and was able to capture that beautiful shot of him taking it to the house. And, just for fun, we'll play those again before we jet on out of here, because that's what it's all about, reveling in the glory that is Justin Fields. So here we go. And I love that they were playing I Put On For My City, on from perfect. Like, they should play that after every Justin Fields touchdown. Literally. Yeah. That had me hyped. That's one of my favorite songs from back in the day, but that had me hyped.
Young Jeezy.
Yeah, that's a big time hype song. And then of course the touchdown run. We got to play these again. Come on. How cool is that? You see Nagy embrace him after the touchdown. Just a big-time moment. First ever touchdown in a Chicago Bears uniform.
Yeah.
Just a great moment, my man.
So much to be excited about, man. It's like I said, it just looks like he belongs. And I think we're going to have a lot to cheer about going forward.
No, look at Will with a positive comment. What? My God, I'm about to go into a seizure here. What is happening? Did somebody take his account and start typing?
Will got hacked. Will
got hacked. We're not trusting this, Will. That's the bait. We're not taking it. We're not taking it. So I got an interview here coming up with the On Tap crew, my guy Cody. Did want to give one more shout out to our other sponsor of this show. Normally I make sure to plug it right after the interview, but my head's been spinning because of this internet issues we've been having. So we're going to finish it off here with my guys from Fan Bags Cornhole. Make sure you are, we had a show here a couple weeks ago to really highlight what Fan Bags is all about, but make sure you're going over and getting your stuff and using the promo code. And so that Mark Potash interview from the Chicago Sun-Times was brought to you by Fan Bags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with FanBags Cornhole. Trey, you're supposed to say cornhole with me.
I'm sorry.
Next time. We'll see if we do it next time.
The reason it's not like I was off in La La Land. I was paying attention to you. Like, why is he saying it so slow right now?
I was thinking you were going to catch the cue because I yelled at you last time, but you'll get it right eventually.
I'm like all in. He's like fan bags. I'm all into it. Like what? I'm like, why is it? I'm like, I'm supposed to say cornhole. I'll get it right next time.
You'll get it right eventually. Hey, we're doing plenty more of these coming up. I want to give a shout out to Patty Ramos Lara. First time watching the show. She said it was a great show and she liked it. I appreciate that, man. Welcome to Brags in the Stands. Make sure you also tune in to the Trey Tune Show, which is live only on Twitch, Mondays through Fridays. A great show. As well, and me and Trey do a lot of different crossover stuff, but that's where you can find Trey's show, and then you can find us both either on crossovers and then, of course, here on Brags in the Stands doing a lot of different sports coverage. So we appreciate you coming in today. This is what we like to do. We're always just kicking it around, doing some things, and we're glad that you could join us. Certainly trying to have fun and keep it light. Talk some Bears, it's and that's what we do. Yep. They said she even said we were funny, Trey. Can you believe it?
Us? Wow.
That's very humbling. We always appreciate new viewers and of course all the viewers that tuned in today. Appreciate you guys joining us. Chicago Republic promo code BuckNasty. I don't know what that means, but okay, that sounds good.
Funny to read. Yeah. Man, this is this thing about Rainbow Beach. It's by my house, right? And it's a beach that doesn't have the best reputation for being a safe place to be. And it's like it's a whole big thing. I went there like 5 o'clock in the morning one day and just went live. Like I'm at Rainbow Beach, y'all. Like, and it's a whole thing. So when you see people talk about Rainbow Beach, it's just silly goofiness about our show.
Will wants to go to the Rainbow Beach with you. Oh, okay. And Buck Nasty is from the Player Haters Ball from the Dave Chappelle Show. I should know this. Trey, I haven't watched the Dave Chappelle Show in so long. I guess I missed it. Chubbs is also asking me to clap for him. He's being very aggressive in the chat, but I'm contractually obligated to clap for Chubbs because he is my one loyal viewer to this show, and we have been growing exponentially here lately, especially it's been very exciting here, some of the growth of this show here just in the last month with some of the training camp coverage. I mean, we had almost 50 live viewers in the chat for a lot of this show. That's cool. I don't do this for the viewers. We started when it was just Chubbs and my mom watching, and that was good enough for me. I don't care. This is just for fun. This is for my own vanity, so I can watch myself on the screen and I can hear myself talk. This show is not for any of you, but we do it. If you're going to enjoy it and tune in while I enjoy hearing myself talk and talking over Trey, I'm happy that you guys are wanting to join in on the fun. And, Trey, I always appreciate you joining as well. Yeah, Trey, obviously your friendship means a lot to me, and appreciate you always helping me out and doing the damn thing here at Brags in the Stands. And, we had other new viewers. Brian Sanchez, he said this was his first show as well, and he found us through the Tape Never Lies Network. I've been doing a lot of crossover stuff with them, having fun with my guys Phil and Shane, some great friends of mine who taught me a lot in this business. And so I appreciate you, Brian. Glad you tuned in and are enjoying the show. We pop in. We don't really have like a oriented schedule. We kind of do it when we can. when the guests want to, when their availability is correct. So Potsy said this morning at 10 a.m., so that's when we went live. Maybe I do a show tomorrow. Maybe I don't do a show till next week. That's kind of how it goes. You got to be on the lookout for the announcements. But we're going to have some big guests here coming up soon. I talked to Adam Johns from The Athletic. He's going to eventually come on once I start pestering him to do it. Tommy Waddle, I always try to get him on when the season starts rolling around or when the season has started. Good friend of ours here at Brags and Stands in the Trey Tunes Show. So, a lot of different fun guests going to be coming on here soon. Maybe even some players on the team, if they can afford their time. So, not only is Brags in the Stands growing, but Chubbs will grow as free. The chubby will grow. So, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the kind words. So that about wraps things up. As I said, we got to be able to. I got to kick off. Got an interview with the On Tap fellas. Some good guys that do a lot of great content as well. The On Tap. These guys are always at the tailgate at Sox games and everything else. And Cody is a diehard Cub fan. But we're going to be talking Bears here real soon. So Bear Truth 9 was always there from the beginning, even though he's turned his back on me lately. But that's okay. We won't judge you. We shall see about guys like Jim McMahon. But take your time, one step at a time, Chubbs. One step at a time. We'll see what we can get done for you guys. So again, appreciate everyone tuning in today. This is about it for today's show. We'll see you here soon. I'm off to Vegas starting Thursday, and I'll be back next week. Try to get to training camp and do a little more Bears coverage as we roll into the season. So, go Bears, go Justin Fields. What a fucking day it was at Soldier Field on the lakefront. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, Pat Black. We'll talk to all you guys soon. Will's head's hurting from all the love. So make sure you send some hate along Will's way on Twitter so he can get this balanced out. He can't take it when all the positivity is getting promoted. So that's right. What happens on this podcast stays on this podcast. So that's it. For Trey Tunes, I am Greg Braggs Jr., and this, of course, is Brags in the Stands. Take it easy, ladies and gentlemen, and always bear down.